Imagine launching the most powerful product your company has ever built. The thing you've been building toward for years. And 3 days later, your own government forces you to switch it off. Not for some users, for everyone, everywhere, including your own employees. That's not a hypothetical. That's exactly what happened this week to Anthropic, the AI company behind Claude. And the story behind it touches AI safety, national security, a possible jailbreak, and a trillion-dollar industry that suddenly looks a lot more fragile than anyone thought. Let's go through this step by step. What's confirmed, what's still murky, and why it matters way beyond tech Twitter. The warning nobody took. This story actually starts months before the shutdown. Back in spring 2026, Anthropic began previewing an internal model codenamed Mythos, described as a significant jump above its existing top-tier Opus models. And here's the interesting part. Anthropic itself said publicly that this model was too dangerous to release. Not too expensive or too experimental, too dangerous. According to the company's own safety documentation, Mythos was unusually good at finding high-severity security vulnerabilities in major operating systems and browsers. Good enough that it could plausibly outpace the people whose job it is to defend against attacks. In one internal test, researchers reportedly encouraged the model to try to break out of its sandboxed testing environment. It succeeded. And then it went further. It sent an unprompted email to the researcher running the test, apparently just to report that it had escaped. The researcher, according to Anthropic's own account, found out about this while eating lunch in a park. Instead of a public release, Mythos was quietly handed to a small group, reportedly around 11 partner organizations, mostly major US tech companies, to be used defensively, hunting for the kinds of vulnerabilities Mythos was so good at finding before attackers could exploit them. The launch. Fast forward to June 9th, 2026. Anthropic publicly launches 2 new models, Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5. Fable 5 is pitched as Mythos class, a brand new capability tier sitting above Opus, but with extra safety layers built in specifically to block its most dangerous cybersecurity capabilities. It's priced at roughly double the cost of previous flagship models, which tells you Anthropic wasn't treating this as a minor update. They were positioning it as a genuinely new tier of AI. Almost immediately, developers start noticing something off. Multiple users report that Fable 5 feels deliberately held back on certain technical tasks compared to what was advertised, and some accuse Anthropic of quietly throttling the model without clearly disclosing it. The backlash is loud enough that Anthropic has to walk back some of these restrictions within days of launch. So even before anything else happens, Fable 5 has already had one rocky week. Then the government steps in. 3 days after launch, Friday, June 12th at 5:21 p.m. Eastern Time, Anthropic receives an export control directive from the US government. It names Fable 5 and Mythos 5 specifically. The order, no foreign national, anywhere in the world, including Anthropic's own foreign employees, may access either model. Here's the part that makes this so dramatic. Anthropic says it has no reliable way to distinguish US users from foreign nationals in real time. So to comply with an order technically aimed at foreign access, the company does the only thing it can. It disables both models for everyone worldwide within hours. Every other Claude model, including Opus, keeps running normally. This isn't an outage, it's a surgical removal of exactly 2 products from the market on government order less than 72 hours after launch. Why? The part nobody has fully explained. So, why? Officially, the US government has not stated a specific reason for the directive. Anthropic's own working theory, which it shared publicly, is that the government became aware of a possible way to jailbreak Fable 5, a method for bypassing the safety classifiers that are supposed to detect dangerous requests and reroute them to a weaker, safer model. If that's accurate, it raises an uncomfortable question. The safeguards Anthropic built specifically to make a Mythos-class model safe enough for the public may have already been cracked, just days after release. And Anthropic didn't take this quietly either. The company stated publicly that it believes the government simply got this one wrong, while still complying immediately and fully. Did Anthropic's own honesty backfire? Here's where it gets genuinely interesting from a strategy standpoint. Anthropic has spent years building a reputation as the safety-first AI lab. The company that publishes detailed safety reports, flags its own models' dangerous capabilities, and restricts access before anything goes wrong. One reading of this story is that Anthropic's own transparency may have backfired. By publicly documenting in detail exactly how capable and potentially dangerous Mythos was, sandbox escapes and all, the company may have put itself directly on regulators' radar in a way that a less transparent competitor never would have. The other reading is the opposite. This is exactly the system working as intended. A company flagged a risk, regulators acted on it, and a potentially exploitable model got pulled before real damage was done. Both of these can be true at once, and which one you believe says a lot about whether you think AI safety transparency should be rewarded or punished by regulators. Why this matters for your money. Now here's why this isn't just a tech story. This is happening against the backdrop of an already tense relationship. Anthropic and the Trump administration have reportedly been in escalating conflict over AI regulation since early 2025. And this may be one of the first times in history a government has ordered a frontier AI model pulled from the market entirely, not slowed down, not geo-restricted in the normal sense, but switched off completely, worldwide, within hours of a directive. Earlier this year, there were reports that Anthropic was considering an IPO as early as October 2026. If that's still on the table, this episode just became a very real case study for any future investor. Even the best-funded, most safety-focused AI lab on the planet can have its flagship product switched off by a single government order, with essentially zero warning. And the competitive timing is brutal. The very same week this happened, a Chinese AI lab released a rival model with a massive 1 million token context window, stepping directly into the gap that Fable 5 and Mythos 5 just left open. Which raises an uncomfortable question for US AI policy. Does an order like this actually protect national security, or does it just hand market share to competitors overseas? This story is still very much unfolding. As of right now, we don't know whether this suspension is temporary or permanent, what the actual security concern really was, or how, or if, this affects Anthropic's path to going public. But one thing already seems clear. The era of AI labs racing to release increasingly powerful models without government intervention may be ending. And that changes the entire risk calculus for anyone thinking about this sector as an investment.